I know, right? Hey, can everybody hear us? Hi.
Hi.
We're here. I'm
We're
here
here,
with
we're here.
Jackie Zebrowski. All of you know who is here hanging out to talk about the part one of A Court of Mist and Fury.
Ooh, love it.
Hello to some new folks who just joined us with follows and who aren't normally around. I'm so excited to have you. Welcome. So yeah, I think we'll just hop right in. So, general thoughts. What were your thoughts of part one, Jackie?
General thoughts. I like this book already more than the first book.
Yeah.
And I really like the first book. So I will say that I worked as a nanny / house manager for a long time. And the thing is that everything that she hates is kind of everything I want. I think I might be the exact opposite of Theta.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that only in a horrible way. I'm like, that sounds great. You're going to protect me. I'm going to be here. I'm going to wear these dresses. I'm going to eat this food. I'm going to fuck the shit out of you.
Yep. Like, you just want to keep me in this beautiful house?
Yeah, man, just okay. But I also understand now, obviously, that I am completely in love with Raisan, which I kind of was feeling at the end of the last book, even though I know problematically I might not have should have been.
Yep.
But that's my own drama that I deal with. And now, as I read it further, I am falling more and more in love with him. What does he look like in your brain?
That's right, Kate, your problematic fave.
Problematic fave. Rocks for life.
Yeah, he's like in my brain. I'm getting sort of. I don't have a person to pin this on, but olive tone, sort of swarthy, dark hair, emo boy for sure.
Ooh.
Is happening for me. What are you thinking?
Ooh. I was my problem is that I'm feeling, I guess I've just been hanging out with Dr. Jordan too much. And I do see a Tom Hiddleston inside of my brain. Mm-hmm. But he's mixed with Alan Rickman. And I don't know if that's just because I want to bang the fuck out of Alan Rickman. The swarthiness, I think that both of them could easily portray if they were mixed. Or if they want to have sex and I get to watch. R.I.P.
No, I don't know. Maybe it's just because
ooh, yes, Ian. I don't know how
even
to say it.
Sommerholder. Yeah, no, I think maybe it's just because I've been doing his voice like this, and I just think of him as
oh, he's bad.
Yeah,
I like that. I'm very into raspy voices.
Yeah.
So you're not into him.
I am more into him now. So I made a pact with myself and with everybody that I would
the pact.
Pretend that book one didn't happen. We have vague memories.
To help her.
Yeah, we have vague memories of important plot points, but we're just gonna everything, because everybody's different now anyway, and I've noticed that everybody's different, and I know that part of it is going to be they went through very important things, but I think a lot of it is also the author realizing, okay, the story I want to tell now is different from when I wrote the first book, and I want to make changes.
Yeah, and I could completely see that. And the thing is that we also have to remember that they were under the curse of the whole book. So I would assume that would also keep big parts of who they were covered as well, because they're always walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
So once you're freed of that, well, then who are you really?
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that I felt she kind of flip-flopped with Lucian as well, from the first book towards the end of the book and then into where we are right now. And I don't know if that's necessarily because of the curse. I feel that's more of I'm going to take a step back, move Raisan into the place of no, he's the bad one now. No, don't you see? He is the bad one. And I don't even think it's bad. I don't think it's poor writing. I think it's just that you can only have one bad guy at a time, which I don't even know if that's necessarily true, but it might be true in the writing of the world for her.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, B, for the sub.
Hi, B. I really like him though.
Yeah. No, I like him now. Like I said, if we block out the bad bits, the badman stuff he did, if we get rid of that, I'm in. I'm all in. But he did the thing. he did the drugging her thing, and that's very difficult. Like, I think, what was it, like right at the end of this bit here where he like rescues her and he offers her tea, and I immediately was like, don't take drinks from him.
But then I do think that the building of him is actually quite good.
Yeah.
Because even in like what saves him, what is his apology tour? That line when he was like, I was being tortured and raped and beaten.
Yes.
And that I do also wonder if that in the conditioning of his brain, that was the only way he could see that not only was he doing this to save her, but he was doing it to save everyone.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't make it right, but he was doing it to literally save Faye kind.
Yes. Yep. No. Yeah. In book world, it's okay.
In book world.
In book world, it's fine.
In book world, 100%.
Yeah.
In real world, fuck no, bitch, run.
Yeah.
Just don't be a fucking human. Just fucking run.
Yeah.
Or just be dead. You know, it's like kind of like at that point, like if you don't want this life,
yeah.
You like, I don't even look. And Kate Treach, you're right. He was in survival mode, much like Feyre was at the beginning of these books. And also how Feyre is, like, she killed innocent people.
Yeah.
And so in the same way, we're like, I don't know if I'll ever really forgive Rysand, but I don't know. But she also did it to save them all. So what is the difference between the two of them then? Of like, but then she is a cold-blooded murderer and he is an assaulter and a druggist. But both of them did it to save everyone. And I'm saying this as an open-ended discussion question of like, does it make them inherently good despite their actions?
Yeah. It's a big moral quandary. And like, I mean, we can bring I always forget his name till I say it, Tamlin. We can bring him into this too, because like when he does his big explosion, as I've been calling it, because I don't even fucking know what happened. As I said, I think I just was looking for more explanation on what exactly was going on in that moment, because it just seemed like explosion to me. Like, that's shitty, and the imprisoning is shitty.
Same way. Okay, Tricia, I kind of feel the same way. I'm going to go out on a limb and say killing an innocent person is worse than being a druggist. But it also depends as a reader of where you come from in the same way as well, of like, what have you endured? Depending on how you feel about that. Now, Kate Treach, I completely agree. In rereading the first book with Dottie, you definitely can see Tamlin's bad traits could be hiding under the surface. Because now, as you brought up that moment, as someone that has been in a physically abusive relationship before, looking back of like anytime you'd get upset and then the claws would like kind of come out and like that, but he couldn't completely succumb to, because he didn't have his full powers. That immediately was a red flag in my, but then part of me as a reader was like, okay, take a step back, Jackie. He's probably not a bad guy. But then you see of like, well, now that he's being, his powers released, of like, she doesn't even want to go back.
Yep. And I mean, like,
fairy hit her, yes.
Yeah, he fairy hit her. Yeah. Thank you. Free massage for ladies for the follow. Very interesting name.
Okay. I love a free massage. As long as I consent.
Yes. Consent only. But like, he fairy hit her, which is like clearly not okay. It also brought some powers out for her, which is interesting. And I'm really excited to see what other ones are there.
Yeah.
Because I will say, as soon as they started having the conversation about the High Lady stuff, which also at the wrong moment.
Yeah, it's just,
like, why are we talking about this right now?
Right now?
But I was like, okay, so clearly something's going on then with this.
Yes. And it is also weird how he doesn't listen to her at all. She's like, wait, no, can we talk about this for a second? What is, like, I know that like you're so obsessed with protecting
Mhm.
me and that Lucian can't step to you. But when like there was part of me that was, I guess I'm going to use the word triggered, but I feel like that's even too intense of a word to use.
Mhm.
Of like when he locked her in that house of like,
Mm.
you locked me in, like of that feeling of
Yep.
where it's like, I don't know. And I have not looked into the writing of this book or this author at all. Is this coming from a place of like, has she been in an abusive relationship before? Because it does that, I feel like rings true of that feeling of being put right. Like that's what I felt as I read it, of just like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Like, I mean, and I don't know if she has or whatever, but she writes it very well. She hasn't,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, Kadris, when I was reading this part originally, I just want to yell into the heavens, someone help this girl, which is exactly what, I mean, essentially she's yelling through the eyeball.
Yeah.
How fucking hot is it, though?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Her, he has to come and take her. And,
but it wasn't even him though. It was the cousin who, by the way, I also love.
Cousin. Yes, I hope that she's. And also, we all know, right? I mean, I'm just obviously, if you've read it, please don't spoil anything. But like that priestess bitch is evil.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
She's got to be evil.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, like I thought like maybe parts of chapter 1 I was like, I don't know yet, but then like right away I was like, oh no, she's doing something.
Because I didn't know if it's just my feelings of just in general of organized religion, or if it was like a book thing, because I'm just like, But do you think that she has something to do with the other priestesses being killed?
Yep, good thought.
He has to.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh no, I think she's in league with that and with the bad king. Yeah, the bad king. I'm predicting that's what's happening.
Yeah, because why would all of them, or like why would some of them been murdered and she's just, and then she disappears?
Exactly.
Where'd she fucking go?
Because during the whole 50-year whatever, she wasn't even there. She was fine, right? So
yeah. So where the fuck was she?
Mm-hmm.
And what was she doing? I don't trust her.
No.
And I'm actually very surprised that Farah trusts her.
Yep. And I think it's like a safety thing, right? Because like she just grabbed onto the first person that was nice to her and she's making all of the choices, which I know when you're traumatized, it can be very easy to just be like, everybody else make all the choices. I'm not doing it, right?
And I think that they actually did a good job of including that, of like what she's gone through and like as the character recognizing like, I'm fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, K-Tree? Farah's like she's not in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
She needs help and not to be sequestered off right now.
Mm-hmm.
Tamlin. And it actually does make me think of how many times I've dreamed of, because, monster fucker. How many times I think about, like, after Beauty and the Beast, like, oh, they get together. He's still the same person, though. Like, he still is, like, he still has been locked away and traumatized. Like, it's not like, oh, man, let's go down to the bakery. It's not like they're going to, like, go on vacay, you know?
It's like, now everything's a big happy party. It's all fine.
No, it's going to be fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
And
which is what it is.
Going with this, which is it is. I think that's why I like this book so far better. Why do you think? And I know that there's like obvious answers, but for discussion's sake, why do you think that she likes the night court so much better? Because like if you think about it, it's like, well, it sounds like both places are equally as beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like both places, even though now she's being followed in Spring Court, right, for her own good. But it wasn't like she was ever not being watched in the first place.
Yeah, true.
And it's not like she's not being watched all the time through here.
Yeah.
So do you think it is just the draw towards Rysand that...
I think there's something about the openness of it, like, because with her, even in the first book, like she was always looking for the exit, right? That would be like the first thing. And if you're in a big open space like that, nobody can sneak up on you, right? Nobody can lock you in if there's nothing to lock, right?
Right. And also, Tricia and Pippa know you're both right. She didn't even know she was being watched at first because they were invisible to her. And then Pippa knows that she's physically and emotionally locked in at Spring Court. And but she's also locked in up here. And I guess it's like, I wonder if it's also like knowing the amount of trauma that she's had from Spring Court. And like when she went back and watching it all have been destroyed and then she immediately gets taken, I wouldn't want to fucking live in that place either. No matter how many guards you have, are you ever going to fucking feel safe there?
No.
I wouldn't want to be there. I'd be like, put me fucking almost anywhere else.
Yep.
I'd rather be with this really fucking hot, swarthy man. You know what I just realized? I think I also sprinkle a little bit of, have you watched any of Our Flag Means Death yet?
A little bit, yeah.
Taika Waititi is Blackbeard. I could see a little bit of that.
A little bit of that in there, yeah.
I'm thinking of Rysanda. Yeah, I could see that.
Yep. I mean, take me anywhere with fucking moonstone floors. As soon as I read that, I was so excited. I was like, I want it.
Yes, I want it. I want to live. I mean, it's Goth Girl's dream.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everything that they describe about this place, I'm like, I want to be there.
Like,
I could be there.
Big silky bed and a giant pool to bathe in. I was like, yeah. It's all like,
it's like all hers.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm more of a mountain person than I am a springtime person. I like a dark mountain. He says living in Los Angeles, but I stay inside a lot.
Well, I mean, no, it gets sunny there too.
Yeah, and it does. Because they can't control the sun. I love it. And
it's perfect.
How also just horrifying must it be to be about to be getting married to someone you don't want to get married to?
Oh.
Like, I've never been in that position.
No.
Thank God.
No.
But that alone.
In a dress that is probably not as ridiculous as it is in my head, but in my head, it was bad.
And even Raizan knew it was bad. And he's like, what are you wearing? But then also the like silky crop top purple pajamas that she's wearing. I want it. Where are those? I want those clothes. So when they put out this, is it going to be a show or is it a movie?
So it is a show. I've tried to do Googling. There's almost no information about it on the internet.
Yeah.
It's going to be on Hulu, and that's all we know. We don't even know who's in it. We don't know when it's coming out. We don't know if it's filming yet. Nothing.
I need it. I'm just expecting, hopefully, that they can just make, Night Court inspired outfits and sell it.
This is my official campaign. Put me in it.
Put her in it. Put her in it. I know, Kate Trish, but after they've failed multiple times with the His Dark Materials trilogy, I'm just like, I don't know if I trust anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if I trust. Have you read His Dark Materials?
I read the first one a million years ago. It's another one of those series where it was like, I feel like I must have, but I don't remember anything about it. So.
Oh God, Kate Trish, of course they're selling Bridgerton-inspired outfits. I mean, there's even the courtship.
Yep. No, that's because that's the big one right now, right? But then when this comes out, this will probably be the next big one. So we're all on that tip,
Yeah, I'll be on that fucking tip. I love His Dark Materials, and I got upset at the show as well. The show is better than the movie.
Yeah, because I know that I saw the movie when it came out because somebody I knew was in the background of a scene, and it was like, at that time, it was like, oh, you have to see it because she's in it, but it's like she's not really in
it. Well, so she got paid. Fuck it.
Yeah, right. Like that's the same thing. Like I haven't seen it yet, but like Nightmare Alley, which I'm so excited to see. I've been saving it, but like one of my good friends was one of the dancers. And she got like a couple of scenes, and she's like, "You have to watch it because I'm in it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll watch it because you're in it."
But also, you're like, I'm just gonna
watch this. But yeah, but I was like, "No, I'll take a little picture when you're in it."
Yeah,
that's the level we're all at. Like me and all my actor friends, we're all like, "I'm in the back for 5 seconds. Look."
Oh yeah. Oh no, we all still do it. And I go, I know him.
I know him
a lot. Yeah. What were other parts that you were upset about Were there any other parts?
The parts that I was upset about, I mean, the wedding in general.
that second chapter, by the way, you were completely right about that second chapter.
Yeah.
Mamma mia.
I was not expecting it to come in that hard.
Mamma mia.
The modern toilets. Did you clock the modern toilets immediately? Because we all did.
Yes. Very interesting. Because also then it's like a realizing of like, is it like, what's the plumbing like ever through all of it?
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, I feel like all the times when we would ask ourselves of the Harry Potter years of, you know, can they magic their shits away? And I guess let's talk about the toilets.
I've been thinking about it since it came up. Like it almost pulled me out. I was like, toilets. We need to talk about this. The plumbing situation. What's their infrastructure like? Who was maintaining that for the last 50 years?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about those, what is it, Azrael? We haven't met them yet, right? The two people. Someone brought up Azrael in one of the chats the other day, and I was like, whatever it is, I haven't gotten to it yet. And so I did one of these. So I didn't know.
Is that the name of what are the names of the two like night court ladies? Yeah.
Yeah, or the ladies?
The
Cashin
shadow.
and Azrael. Thank you, Kate Trish.
Yes. Yeah, because they were her like maids under the mountain, and now they're back, right?
Yeah.
They are guys. Thank you. See, I just assumed ladies. See what I mean?
In this world.
Yeah. I don't know why. I picked that.
I like it.
Wait, Katrina's just like, no, you're incorrect. Okay, I'm wrong.
I just remember so someone had brought them up, and that's why I was like,
yeah.
But we're all at the same part. I just finished the first part, so you haven't gotten any further.
No, we're gonna read probably a couple of chapters today, and then we're on a very short break while I'm out of town, and then we'll be back on Wednesday.
Love it. Okay. I also that he's teaching her he's actually teaching her how to read and how to write.
Yes.
Which, you know what? Throwing it out there, Tamlin, a lot of lip service. It's like, okay, it was really nice with the painting, and it's really nice, but then again with the painting of because you could, and I felt that was also another control thing of because you can look, you can stay here and you can paint. She's more than just the paint, Tamlin. That's just scraping the fucking surface, Tamlin.
He gave her dirty poems in book 1.
That is true. But, now Rhysand is getting her to write about how beautiful he is and how wonderful he is. And I bet he's great at laying pipe.
But as I kept saying, because she was so pissed off about it, I was like, the better way to do this would be to write his sentence out, but then change it so that it's rude.
And I bet that she's gonna get there at some
point. It's like, I'm showing my work. You see, I know that this is a rude word I can replace your nice word with.
Yeah. And I really don't I actually genuinely don't understand. Dottie hated that part. I get it. I understand. I'm in love with him now, so I don't know if you're noticing my flaws as a human being.
No, I love hate him. I'm still in that I don't like him. He's a bully.
No, I immediately cover all flaws. I'm like, no, it's fine. So I'm sure I'll be changing my tune at some point, but I'm really good at eating my words. And I think that what was I just thinking of with Rhysand? And I genuinely don't understand as character development how Tamlin could look at her having gotten through those 3 trials and still sees her as only quaking. She's way sturdier than she was before.
Oh, yeah.
And then Lucian's it's because he loves you now. And shouldn't that mean that you should recognize how fucking strong she is?
Right, and that's what you'd hope, right? Because I'm way more into that. But at the same time, I'm trying to have some degree of empathy for everybody. And I think that he is just more afraid of her getting whether or not it's not that he doesn't trust her, he doesn't trust the world.
Right.
Right. And so that's what it is. And so that doesn't mean it's right. And that doesn't mean it's okay. It's just, that's where he's coming from. Right. So as whatever she might be. And I think he still thinks of her the other way too. Because she's not the same person.
No, she's like, I mean, she was a murderer before, but now she's a murderer.
Yeah.
And she's got to talk about some of this shit.
Yeah, like not a joyful murderer, but a murderer.
No, and Catrice, you're right. Maybe he feels himself losing control of her.
Yeah.
I think, and like, that's why, like, the paints of, like, I'm not going to recognize how you've changed and how you've grown. I'm going to keep you exactly the same in my brain, which is also another part of an abusive relationship, is that I will not acknowledge that you can change, that you will change. I want you to be exactly what I want you to be. So I've already switched off my Tamlin, and I've already switched on my Rysand. So
yep. No, like
it's hard to get me back.
I was sort of out of Tamlin camp back when he wasn't doing shit. I was already kind of done, but I'm still like, I'm begrudgingly liking Rysand now.
I understand.
You know,
and Pippa knows this. I think Tamlin is more status quo, like with the water wraith. Things are how they are.
Yep.
And yet he can't, because I do agree with you, Pippa. And yet he can't look at Rysand and realize you are not the sins of your father, just like I am not the sins of my father. And I know that up to that point, he didn't show himself as any different, but to have the love of your life be like, I think that he's actually like really trying to change, and he is trying to like be aware of his status and be aware of his power and how he can manipulate for good, but he can't see that.
Yeah, and like, I just had a thought and it went away. No, I think like on some level, like Tamlin's still thinking of him as like, as though Feyre also hates him still the same way. Right? So when he's like, we're going to get you out of this. You don't have to go. Like, you don't have to, I'm going to keep you
She's
here.
like, he's training me.
Yeah.
He's like giving me exactly what I want.
Exactly. But he's just like not listening. Yeah. He's like, nah, he's evil.
Catrice said, I may have pushed you that way, to be honest, when I was like, you get a moment away with her and you don't want to make a plan. But also, you were right about that. Yeah. Yes, of course, you want to make out in the corner. But that, like, that will come in time. Like, you got to fucking, let's figure something out real fucking quick. Like, wouldn't that be, like, in my brain at that moment, Tamlin already was, like, resigned to her dying. Right?
Yeah. Oh, no, like, I 100% think that he was, like, ready for her to die the whole time.
Well, because even like the way Rysand talks about it, like he just stood there.
Yeah.
And he let it happen to you.
Yeah.
And it is like, it like, I know obviously like he had to do those things, but if you are going to have this person up on a pedestal of how much he protects you and how much he does for you, then isn't all of this stuff in this book and all this protection, like, it's gotta be guilt as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, like, Catrice. Oh, I want to know what you know, but I don't want to know.
You know all. She keeps me in check. But yeah, like he just, like I'm sure he feels all kinds of guilty, but like at the same time, he like still thinks he was right. Like he never thinks he does anything wrong ever, really.
Right.
You know?
Oh, Rysand?
Neither one of them, but definitely Tamlin.
I hope that, like, Catrice, don't tell me, but tell me. Is she gonna, like, start eating muff at some point? Because I feel like the men that are written in these books are not very good.
They're not good. Go with the cousin. Go with...
That's what I'm saying.
I always forget her fucking name. Mog?
Yeah,
Morgan?
I want them to start kissing.
Yeah.
Because she seems great.
She's barely been there, but she seems awesome. She's got big Alice energy, and I'm here for it.
She does have big Alice energy, 100%. And I want to see them kiss.
Yes.
But I also hope Rysand doesn't break her heart.
Yeah.
Oh, God, is he going to die? Oh, God, don't tell me. But I know that I feel like this book is going to make me cry at some point, right?
Oh, yeah. Something's going to happen. Well, I mean, because they just... At the end there, she's decided she's not going back, which is going to have a whole lot of fallout, guaranteed. So something's going to happen.
To his hometown. We're gonna bang in your childhood bedroom? Probably not. I think he had a rough childhood.
Yeah, probably not. Not ideal. Yeah, no, I don't know whose house this is. Gotta know whose house this is first.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I just read the first page of the next book, so I didn't mean to spoil.
No, it's okay. No, I think I do that. I just don't know like who is in it and like who is living there right now, I think is what I mean. So I'll find that out, I guess, today.
And so they're not actually cousins, so you think that they're besties?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause they're not like cousins. I know that, but they're definitely something.
And also Kate Trish, predictions for the next section. Tamlin's gonna be real fucking pissed when she doesn't come back. Yeah,
Priestess too.
Yeah, but are they gonna start banging? Are they gonna be so upset that they start to bang?
They deserve each other.
They do fucking deserve each other. And then, but then is she gonna like make him be evil? Because obviously he succumbs to that puss. Or he could.
Yeah, no, like I think we have to, unfortunately, just write him off. He's of no use to anyone anymore. He's just a failure.
What is he gonna do? Is he gonna try and come get her from the night court?
Oh yes, because he doesn't know that she's like. Happen? He doesn't really know that she's chosen that, right? So
he's gonna. She should fucking open up her mouth, but he doesn't listen. So why would she?
Exactly, but like he's gonna go in there just making all kinds of assumptions because also none of like Alice and all the other people in the house who would have witnessed her being taken can't tell him that they let it happen.
Oh yeah, that also right. But now they can though, can't they?
Well, no, because if they tell him that like, oh, we let them take her, they're all dead.
Yeah, but it wouldn't you? But then they're also scared. Oh, but is she in the night court? Bum bum bum.
Where are you?
Where are you? Oh. Because the night court is supposed to be based off of Under the Mountain, right? And the way that he talks, like it sounds like it's dark, but not all the time.
Yeah, it sounds like the court part is the part that Under the Mountain was based on them.
The court part. Okay.
Night court is the OG.
Oh my God, with Bull.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing I want to bring up. I don't know anything about Night Court, and I want to make Night Court jokes, but I don't know anything about it.
You can just say Bull, just drop the name John Larroquette, then it'll be fine.
It's one of those things where, like, I saw the trailers for the show on the, like, comedy classic channel all the time, and that's about all I know.
Oh, that Cage Reach, that's where his childhood bed would be. So where's the other side? Where does he hide and where is his lair?
Oh.
You can bring me there to it. Man, I tell you what. These books really help my sex life. Not that I really even need the help, but then I'm just like reading and then I put it down. I'm just like,
okay. My brain has gone to the right place.
Oh, hi. And I haven't had like this series. I think not this series because honestly, I thought there was going to be a lot more smut than there actually is. And then I'm like, oh no, these are actually just like really great reads. Like these are just really fun.
No, they're wonderful. And then like, but honestly, she took the note by putting that in at chapter 2. She was like, oh, note from first book is it doesn't get dirty fast enough. Okay, right away. We're there.
I'll make it dirty.
Yep.
Oh, I'll make it dirty.
Occasionally she'll just pop a line in there that's like,
oh, the best sex scenes are gifted. Come. Oh my God, is it with Ryson? I really hope that it is.
Yay, but also
Oh yeah, you reading them. No, me reading them alone is enough.
Oh, reading them alone is like fun, but like reading them out loud is everybody gets to watch me squirt.
Live. Like there's one thing where it's like I'm thinking about reading Harlequin romances for afterwards. It's like at least no one's looking at me.
Yeah.
And then if I have to go like I can pause and then I can do that. Or I leave it in. I mean, if you listen to Twilight, you know I just leave it in.
Because I don't remember what, maybe it was in chapter 2. I don't know. The word nipple kept coming up, and I just felt so weird saying nipple over and over and over again.
Sometimes you gotta say it.
It's lost all meaning. I can't
anymore. Nipple. think that Raizan is going to be an even better lover. I feel like he's going to be more romantic than Tamlin is.
Yeah, because Tamlin's not a romantic lover at all.
He shreds her clothes off. We're just like, you're right. Honestly, great. It is great. I'm into it. But if it's every time.
Yeah, some variety would be nice, maybe.
I mean, especially when it's just like, that's great. We fucked all morning. And also she's in a fucking depression. She can't even get out of bed. And like even Raizan asks, like, nobody there asks about you.
Yeah.
No one asks, like, no one notices that you're throwing up every night. Because at first I thought she was pregnant.
Well, yeah, because she's throwing up in a book. So yeah.
But which is, the only time.
Yeah.
But like, why is she throwing up only in the middle of the night? Are they trying to are they giving her drugs to keep her asleep so that she doesn't?
Maybe.
Like, I'm trying to I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall of
yeah, like I think a lot of it is just like horrible fear and nightmare shit, and like that's how she's dealing with it. But yeah, there's
also just the trauma. It's probably just the trauma as well.
Yeah, but there are many things.
Where's the Fae therapist? They all need one.
They all need it.
Needs one.
No, they've got the priestess. Is supposed to help.
I don't like her. I don't like her one bit.
Don't trust her. Nope.
Oh, but also he saved her from getting married when he knew that she didn't want to.
Mm-hmm. I know, but that's because he can literally hear her thoughts.
Yeah, but he chooses not to. Until she tugs on him. Mm-hmm. He had to listen. Trish. Yeah. I feel like it's like, you're right. You just use the cauldron and everything's fine.
That's okay. Just talk to Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, that helps.
Cauldron. I'm excited to learn more about their religious beliefs because we're gonna have to, right, Trish? They're gonna have to get to it at some point of what, where does this ideology come from that they pray to? Or is it not or does that not matter?
Yeah, we'll get into it. Okay, we're going to get into it.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you for being our guide. You're our Sherpa.
Yep.
Tree Sherpa. That's what you are. I'm really excited for this next part.
Yes. Yeah, no, the next part is longer.
Okay, great.
From what I was looking at, it's longer, but the chapters themselves are shorter.
Oh, so are you going to be reading more chapters then?
Yeah, because I do it based on time versus chapter number. Like I look at the page numbers and try to do math.
Whoa.
So it's completely inaccurate, and I'm just guessing, is what I'm saying.
I like it. I get it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, last time it worked out to about 3 chapters each time, but this time
might be more. Well, definitely keep me abreast.
Oh, well.
I'd like to talk, but also I need to get the date so that I make sure that I read it in time.
Yes, I will. I will send you a date soon.
I finished reading this morning.
Yeah,
but I'm glad because this is watch it. Jeff last night was like, I'm so glad I didn't know you when you were in school. It's like, yeah. I put off everything, but I'm really good at putting off everything, and I still get it all done.
Mm-hmm. That's the key. As long as you get it done, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. And I enjoed it too. So it's not it's like, I actually this morning was like, no, it's great. I had my coffee and then I just sat on the couch and read. And I'm like, look at me. Sat on the couch and read on a fucking Wednesday morning.
What a nice day.
But this was great, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Have a good recording. I'll let you go because we went right up to the end there. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be the best, and I'm going to go record page 7, and it's going to be absolutely wonderful. And I'll say hi to MJ and Holden for you guys.
Thank you.
And thank you guys so much for having me here, and I can't wait. I love you, Katrice. I love you, Pippin. I love you, Dottie. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Let me know whenever you do your maths.
Yes.
When I can come back and
I will
about the next.
I will. It will be soon. I just have to, like I said, do my maths.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I'm gone for a week in.
Gotcha.
April.
Gotcha. All right, we'll plan around it. So Jackie will be back, everybody. Okay.
I love you guys.
Bye.
Have a great reading.
Yes. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna pop off for 1 sec. I'll be right back with you. I'm back. Oh, that was good. That was fun. I love that Jackie comes on and talks to all of us. It makes me so happy. Oh, you all just got to witness the lights for my plants just went out. I forgot they're on a timer and that it's different now because the time changed. Spooks me every time. So I'm trying to... That was a great talk. I'm trying to get the music to work again, and it was broken. It's still broken. Why is my music broken? It was broken during the chat, but I didn't want to make you guys wait while I figured that out. All right. Yeah, so yeah, it was a really good talk. How did everybody enjoy it? What did everybody think of what Jackie had to say? I'm so glad she comes on and talks with us. Oh, somebody's home. Somebody's home. Mimi's very excited. Her tail's just about to hit the microphone. Okay. Go on. Ugh. So different from me. She really likes Rasand. I love that she's on it right away, but that I'm not. So we've actually got something to talk about. Because if everybody was just like, we all love him, it'd be exciting, but it would also be like, you know. Yeah, no. Let's see here. If I add a new thing, what comes up? Anything? Oh, I'm on a magical audio journey right now, is what I'm on. What does it mean? Oh, guys, you're gonna laugh at me. So, to start with, I had the wrong cable plugged into the wrong place, so that wouldn't help. That wouldn't help at all. And then I did it like an idiot. Okay, so that's one mystery solved. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But you could work though. But you could work and do what I want you to do though. That would be nice. Everybody think nice thoughts about my computer. Okay. Promising. Promising. No. I was so excited for a second. I was like, I thought I figured it out. You were hearing it play out of my main speakers. Come on. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. See, because if this just plays out my speakers... like I could blast it. So silly. So silly. Computers. Whoop, 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 whoop. I picked something that would be kind of like loud so that I would hear it, but note to self. Do better. Note to self, do better. Okay, let's see if I do this. If I can make this not be terrible. Okay. Because now that I'm not running Whoosy Whatsits so that we talk to Jackie, maybe I can do it this way. Note to self, do better? Yes. No, it's a good note. It's a good note. I always recommend it. So yeah, I am very excited to see what happens in this next section, but I don't know. Like I said, I need to know whose house this is, so I'm excited to find that out. Can you guys hear this? Because it's not too loud for me now. So I think that's a good sign. It's not what I intended, but it is here. Okay, so I'm going to pull the book out now. Like I was saying, I have done just a little bit of math to figure out how much we're going to be reading. So today we're sticking to the sort of 3-chapter estimate, and then past that, it looks like it's going to be closer to like 4 or 5. But I want to do a proper calculation. As I was saying, I am leaving town this weekend to go deal with some family stuff, so I won't be around. So for our Sunday reading, it will unfortunately be canceled. Same with Saturday slumber party. So no Saturday or Sunday stream, but I'll be back for Wednesday. And then ideally I'll be around going forward for all the regular stuff. But yeah, for the next little while, things are going to be a little bit weird because life is weird for me right now. So that's just the way how it is. Sucks, but that do be how it be sometimes. All right, guys, so I am going to get on to chapter 14 now. We're going to find out whose house this is. Okay. Welcome to my home, Rasand said. A city, a world lay out there. Morning sunlight streamed through the windows lining the front of the townhouse. The ornately carved wood door before me was inset with fogged glass that peeked into a small antechamber, and the actual front door beyond it, shut and solid against whatever city lurked beyond. And the thought of setting foot out into it, into the leering crowds, seeing the destruction Amarantha had likely wreaked upon them, a heavy weight pressed into my chest. I hadn't dredged up the focus to ask until now, hadn't given an ounce of room to consider that this might be a mistake, but what is this place? Rhys leaned a broad shoulder against the carved oak threshold that led into the sitting room and crossed his arms. This is my house. Well, I've two homes in the city. One is for more official business, but this is only for me and my family. I listened for any servants, but heard none. Good. Maybe that was good, rather than have people weeping and gawking. Nuala and Saradwin are here, he said, reading my glance down the hall behind us. But other than that, it'll just be the two of us. I tensed. It wasn't that things had been any different at the Night Court itself, but this house was much, much smaller. There would be no escaping him, save for the city outside. There were no cities left in our mortal territory, though some had sprung up on the main continent. Full of art and learning and trade. Elaine had once wanted to go with me. I didn't suppose I'd ever get that chance now. Rasand opened his mouth, but then the silhouettes of two tall, powerful bodies appeared on the other side of the front door's fogged glass. One of them banged on it with a fist. Hurry up, you lazy ass, a deep male voice drawled from the antechamber beyond. Exhaustion drugged me so heavily that I didn't particularly care that there were wings peeking over their two shadowy forms. Rhys didn't so much as blink toward the door. Two things, Feyre darling. The pounding continued, followed by the second male murmuring to his companion. If you're going to pick a fight with him, do it after breakfast. That voice, like shadows given form, dark and smooth and cold. I wasn't the one who hauled me out of bed just now to fly down here. I wasn't the one who hauled me out of bed just now to fly down here, the first one said, then added, busybody. I could have sworn a smile tugged on Rhys's lips as he went on. No one, but Moore and I were able to winnow directly inside this house. It is warded, shielded, and then warded some more. Only those I wish, and you wish, may enter. You are safe here, and safe anywhere in the city for that matter. Valeris's walls are well protected and have not been breached in 5,000 years. No one with ill intent enters this city unless I allow it. So go where you wish, do what you wish, and see who you wish. Those two in the antechamber, he added, eyes sparkling, might not be on that list of people you should bother knowing if they keep banging on the door like children. Another pound, emphasized by the first male voice saying, You know we could hear you, prick. Everybody calls him a prick, eh? Secondly, Rhys went on, in regard to the two bastards at my door, it's up to you whether you want to meet them now, or head upstairs like a wise person, take a nap since you're still looking a little peaky, and then change into city-appropriate clothing while I beat the hell out of one of them for talking to his high lord like that. There was such light in his eyes. It made him look younger somehow. More mortal. So at odds with the icy rage I'd seen earlier when I'd awoken. Awoken on that couch, and then decided I wasn't returning home. Decided that perhaps the Spring Court might not be my home. I was drowning in that old heaviness, clawing my way up to a surface that might not ever exist. I'd slept for the mother knew how long, and yet, just come get me when they're gone. That joy dimmed, and Reese looked like he might say something else, but a female voice, crisp and edged, now sounded behind the two males in the antechamber. You Illyrians are worse than cats yowling to be let into the back door. The knob jangled. She sighed sharply. Really, Rasand, you locked us out. Fighting to keep that immense heaviness at bay a bit longer, I made for the stairs, at the top of which now stood Nuala and Ceridwen, wincing at the front door. I could have sworn Ceridwen subtly gestured me to hurry up, and I might have kissed both twins for that bit of normalcy. I might have kissed Reese, too, for waiting to open the front door until I was halfway down the cerulean blue hallway on the second level. All I heard was that first male voice declare, "Welcome home, bastard," followed by the shadowy male voice saying, "I sensed you were back. More filled me in, but I'm trying him French. That might be wrong, I don't know." That strong female voice cut him off. "Send your dogs out to the yard to play, Rasand. You and I have matters to discuss." That midnight voice said with quiet cold that licked down my spine, "As do I." Then the cocky one drawled to her, "We were here first. Wait your turn, tiny ancient one." On either side of me, Nuala and Ceridwen flinched, either from holding in laughter or some vestige of fear, or perhaps both. Definitely both, as a feminine snarl sliced through the house, albeit a bit half-heartedly. The upstairs hall was punctured with chandeliers of swirled colored glass, illuminating the few polished doors on either side. I wondered which belonged to Rasand and then wondered which one belonged to Moore as I heard her yawn amid the fray below. "Why is everyone here so early? I thought we were meeting tonight at the house." Below, Rasand grumbled. "Trust me, there's no party. Only a massacre if Cassian doesn't shut his mouth." "We're hungry," the first male, Cassian, complained. "Feed us. Someone told me there'd be breakfast." "Pathetic," that strange female voice quipped. "You idiots are pathetic." Moore said, "We know that's true, but is there food?" I heard the words, heard and processed them, and then they floated into the blackness of my mind. Nuala and Ceridwen opened a door, leading to a fire-warmed, sunlit room. It faced a walled, winter-kissed garden in the back of the townhouse, the large windows peering over the sleeping stone fountain in its center, drained for the season. Everything in the bedroom itself was of rich wood and soft white, with touches of subtle sage. It felt, strangely enough, almost human. And the bed, massive, plush, adorned in quilts and duvets of cream and ivory to keep out the winter chill, that looked the most welcoming of all. But I wasn't so far gone that I couldn't ask a few basic questions, to at least give myself the illusion of caring a bit about my own welfare. "Who was that?" I managed to say as they shut the door behind us. Nuala headed for the small attached bathing room. White marble, a clawfoot tub, more sunny windows that overlooked the garden wall and the thick line of cypress trees that stood watch behind it. Ceridwen, already stalking for the armoire, cringed a bit and said over her shoulder, "There were sons in her circle." The one I'd heard mentioned that day at the night court, who Reese kept going to meet. "I wasn't aware that High Lords kept things so casual," I admitted. "They don't," Nuala said, returning from the bathing room with a brush. "But Rasand does." "I don't know what their voices should be yet, I'm sorry." Apparently, my hair was a mess, because Nuala brushed it as Ceridwen pulled out some ivory sleeping clothes, a warm and soft lace-trimmed top and pants. "Not ivory underthings?" "Yep. Trisha, you can tell me. So these are men? these are men? I mean, gender is a construct, but these are men. I should do man voice. I should do men voices for this. No. Okay. I understand now. I think. Maybe? Okay, they are women. Okay. This is what we were talking about earlier. I was so confused. I got dumb lady brain. I'm a dumb lady. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Okay. I took in the clothes, then the room, then the winter garden and the slumbering fountain beyond, and Rasan's earlier words clicked into place. The walls of this city have not been breached for 5,000 years. Meaning Amarantha. How is this city here? I met Nuala's gaze in the mirror. How did it survive? Nuala's face tightened, and her dark eyes flicked to her twin, who slowly rose from a dresser drawer, fleece-lined slippers for me in hand. Ceridwen's throat bobbed as she swallowed. The High Lord is very powerful, Ceridwen said carefully, and is devoted to his people long before his father's mantle passed to him. How did it survive? I pushed. A city? A lovely one, if the shadows from my window, the garden beyond it, were any indication, lay all around me. Untouched, whole, safe, while the rest of the world had been left to ruin. The twins exchanged looks again, some silent language they'd learned in the womb passing between them. Nuala set down the brush on the vanity. It is not for us to tell. He asked you not to. No, Ceridwen interrupted, folding back the covers of the bed. The High Lord made no such demand. Well, what he did to shield this city is his story to tell, not ours. We would be more comfortable if he told you, lest we get any of it wrong. I glared between them. Fine. Fair enough. Ceridwen moved to shut the curtains, sealing the room in darkness. My heart stumbled, taking my anger with it, and I blurted, "Leave them open." I couldn't be sealed up and shut in darkness. Not yet. Ceridwen nodded and left the curtains open, both of the twins telling me to send word if I needed anything before they departed. Alone, I slid into the bed, hardly feeling the softness, the smoothness of the sheets. I listened to the crackling fire, the chirp of birds in the garden's potted evergreens, so different from the spring-sweet melodies I was used to, that I might never hear or be able to endure it again. Maybe Amarantha had won after all. And some strange new part of me wondered if my never returning might be a fitting punishment for him, for what he had done to me. Sleep claimed me, swift and brutal and deep. Ooh. So she's decided that she's punishing him now. Now she's punishing Talon, is she? Okay. So that was chapter 14. So now we know that it's Rasan's house and that he and Morgan, I guess, do they live there just as much as they live anywhere else? Like, I don't fully understand why they have multiple houses, but I'm not a multiple house type of person. I changed this music. I was not into it the whole time. Be honest with you. Yeah, they rich. They're certainly rich. Ugh. Okay. Let's get into chapter 15. That one was nice and short, but this one is a big old long one. So we'll be here for a while in this guy. True, we did get the name of where she is. That I've already forgotten. So, there's that. It says the big fancy nighttime city. Fancy nighttime city. You know, it's that. Valaris. Thank you, Katrusha. Yes, that's probably how it's spelled. It's fine. Which would make sense for a nighttime thing, because valerian root is what you take to sleep. It's a sleepy herb. If anybody cares about the roots of words. I guess I just knew that one. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, Katrusha, yeah. If you look at any of your like sleepy time teas, those types of things, they usually have some valerian root in them. Some chamomile. You'll also get some lavender occasionally. That sort of thing. Excuse me, miss. She's chewing on that pillow and should not be. Did I say you could chew on the pillow? Is the pillow a chew toy? No? I know, you're so cute that I should just let you do that, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, guys, I didn't light the candles. I completely forgot. I was so excited about hanging out with Jackie, I forgot all about it. It's important to just me, but... Oh, your puppy wanted to eat. It's the worst. But hey, Katrusha, it'll just be the once, right? Because then you'll get her fixed. Probably. I'm just assuming. People who don't, but they aren't breeders or anything, they just don't want to get their dogs fixed. I'm like, why would you want to put up with a puppy period every month? Yeah, blood party. You're synced up. Oh my god. Like, no judgment, but do you want to have to deal with puppy periods every month? I don't want to deal with my period every month. Much warmer. That's nice. Okay, let's get on to chapter 15. I awoke 4 hours later. It took me minutes to remember where I was, what had happened. And each tick of the little clock on the rosewood writing desk was a shove back into that heavy dark. Right, Kitri, yes, they are more at risk for cancer every time. It's healthier for your dog to get your dog fixed, by and large. But at least I wasn't tired. Weary, but no longer on the cusp of feeling like sleeping forever. I'd think about what happened at the spring court later. Tomorrow. Never. Mercifully, Rasan's inner circle left before I'd finished dressing. Reese was waiting at the front door, which was open to the small wood and marble antechamber, which in turn was open to the street beyond. He ran an eye over me, from the suede navy shoes, practical and comfortable. Practical and comfortably made. Oh, she's got blue suede shoes. Girl thinks she's Elvis. To the knee-length sky blue overcoat, to the braid that began on one side of my head and curved around the back. Beneath the coat, my usual flimsy attire had been replaced by thicker, warmer brown pants and a pretty cream sweater that was so soft I could have slept in it. Knitted gloves that matched my shoes had already been stuffed into the coat's deep pockets. "Those two certainly like to fuss," Rasan said, though something about it was strained as we headed out the front door. Each step toward the bright threshold was both an eternity and an invitation. For a moment, the weight in me vanished as I gobbled down the details of the emerging city. Buttery sunlight that softened the already mild winter day, a small, manicured front lawn, its dried grass near white, bordered with a waist-high wrought iron fence and empty flower beds, all leading toward a clean street of pale cobblestones. High fae in various forms of dress meandered by, some in coats like mine, to ward against the crisp air, some wearing mortal fashions with layers and poofy skirts and lace, some in riding leathers, all unhurried as they breathed in the salt and lemon verbena breeze. In the salt and lemon verbena breeze that even winter couldn't chase away. So all the smells are very kind of tropical but dreamy at the same time, eh? So like even though it's wintertime, it's still like kind of spicy and makes you think of the beach. Where was I? I lost my place. Okay. Not one of them looked toward the house, as if they either didn't know or weren't worried that their own High Lord dwelled in one of the many marble townhouses lining either side of the street, each capped with a green copper roof and pale chimneys that puffed tendrils of smoke into the brisk sky. In the distance, children shrieked with laughter. I staggered to the front gate, unlatching it with fumbling fingers that hardly registered the ice-cold metal, and took all of 3 steps into the street before I halted at the sight at the other end. The street sloped down, revealing more pretty townhouses and puffing chimneys, more well-fed, unconcerned people, and at the very bottom of the hill curved a broad, winding river, sparkling like deepest sapphire, snaking toward a vast expanse of water beyond. Yeah, Catrice, you're right. It gives me kind of an Italy, French Riviera vibe. Being where I am from, it's kind of giving me like old Montreal or even like downtown Ottawa a little bit, only because the green copper makes me think of the Parliament buildings. But that's, once again, that's very Canadian of me. They're also in wintertime and I can like feel and picture this exact weather and I hate it. But yeah, definitely like old Montreal, because that's very European. Where was I? Okay, yeah, I was on that page. Okay, great. The sea. The city had been built like a crust atop the rolling, steep hills that flanked the river. The buildings crafted from white marble or warm sandstone. Ships with sails of varying shapes loitered in the river, the white wings of birds shining brightly above them in the midday sun. No monsters, no darkness, not a hint of fear or of despair. Untouched. The city has not been breached in 5,000 years. Even during the height of her dominance over Prythian, whatever Reese had done, whatever he'd sold or bartered, Amarantha truly had not touched this place. The rest of Prythian had been shredded, then left to bleed out over the course of 50 years. Yet Valaris... My fingers curled into fists. I sensed something looming, and gazed down the other end of the street. There, like eternal guardians of the city, towered a wall of flat-topped mountains of red stone, the same stone that had been used to build some of the structures. They curved around the northern edge of Valaris, to where the river bent toward them and flowed into their shadow. To the north, different mountains surrounded the city across the river. A range of sharp peaks like fish's teeth cleaved the city's merry hills from the sea beyond. But these mountains behind me, they were sleeping giants, somehow alive, awake. As if in answer, their undulating, slithering power slid along my bones, like a cat brushing against my legs for attention. I ignored it. "The middle peak," Reese said from behind me, and I whirled, remembering he was there. He just pointed toward the largest of the plateaus. Holes and windows seemed to have been built into the uppermost part of it. And flying toward it, borne on large dark wings, were two figures. "That's my other home in this city. The House of Wind." Sure enough, the flying figures swerved on what looked to be a wicked fast current. "We'll be dining there tonight," he added, but I couldn't tell if he sounded irritated or resigned about it. And I didn't quite care. I turned toward the city again and said, "How?" He understood what I meant. "Luck." "Luck? Yes, how lucky for you," I said quietly, but not weakly. "That the rest of Prithian was ravaged while your people, your city, remained safe." The wind ruffled Reese's dark hair, his face unreadable. "Did you even think for one moment," I said, my voice like gravel, "to extend that luck to anywhere else? Anyone else?" "Other cities," he said calmly, "are known to the world. Valaris has remained secret beyond the borders of these lands for millennia. Amarantha did not touch it because she did not know it existed. None of her beasts did. No one in the other courts knew of its existence either." "How?" "Spells and wards and my ruthless ancestors who were willing to do anything to preserve a piece of goodness in our wretched world." "And when Amarantha came," I said, nearly spitting her name, "you don't think to open this place as a refuge?" "When Amarantha came," he said, his temper slipping the leash a bit as his eyes flashed, "I had to make some very hard choices very quickly." I rolled my eyes, twisting away to scan the rolling steep hills, the sea far beyond. "I'm assuming you won't tell me about it. But I had to know how he'd managed to save this slice of peace and beauty." "Now's not the time for that conversation." "Fine. I had heard that sort of thing 1,000 times before at the spring court. Anyway, it wasn't worth dredging up the effort to push about it. But I wouldn't sit in my room. Couldn't allow myself to mourn and mope and weep and sleep. So I would venture out, even if it was an agony, even if the size of this place, cauldron, it was enormous. I jerked my chin toward the city sloping down toward the river. "So what is there that was worth saving at the cost of everyone else?" When I faced him, his blue eyes were as ruthless as the cunning winter sea in the distance. Churning winter sea in the distance. It's not an intelligent sea, it's not cunning, it's not thinking of doing anything wrong, it's simply churning. "Everything," he said. Rasan wasn't exaggerating. There was everything to see in Valaris. Tea shops with delicate tables and chairs scattered outside their cheery fronts, surely heated by some warming spell, all full of chattering, laughing high fae, and a few strange, beautiful fairies. There were 4 main market squares, palaces they were called. 2 on this side, the southern side of the Sidra River, 2 on the northern. In the hours that we wandered, I only made it to 2 of them. Great white stone squares flanked by pillars supporting the carved, painted buildings that watched over them and provided a covered walkway beneath for the shops built into the street level. The first market we entered, the Palace of Thread and Jewels, sold clothes, shoes, supplies for making both, and jewelry. Endless, sparkling jeweler shops. Yet nothing inside me stirred at the glimmer of sunlight on the undoubtedly rare fabrics swaying in the chill river breeze, at the clothes displayed in the broad glass windows, or the luster of gold and ruby and emerald and pearl nestled on velvet beds. I didn't dare glance at the now empty finger on my left hand. Reese entered a few of the jewelry shops, looking for a present for a friend, he said. I chose to wait outside each time, hiding in the shadows beneath the palace buildings. Walking around today was enough. Introducing myself, enduring the gawking and tears and judgment. If I had to deal with that, I might very well climb into bed and never get out. But no one on the streets looked twice at me, even at Rasan's side. Perhaps they had no idea who I was. Perhaps city dwellers didn't care who was in their midst. The second market, the Palace of Bone and Salt, was one of the twin squares. One on this side of the river, the other one, the Palace of Hoof and Leaf, across it. Both crammed with vendors selling meat, produce, prepared foods, livestock, confections, spices. So many spices, scents familiar and forgotten from those precious years when I had known the comfort of an invincible father and bottomless well. Oh, now you see it's New York, eh? I mean, yeah, it's got some New York vibes too, doesn't it? Rasan kept a few steps away, hands in his pockets, always in his pockets, as he offered bits of information every now and then. Yes, he told me many stores and homes used magic. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Yes, he told me many stores and homes used magic to warm them, especially popular outdoor spaces. I didn't inquire further about it. No one avoided him. No one whispered about him or spat on him or stroked him as they had under the mountain. Rather, the people that spotted him offered warm, broad smiles. Some approached, gripping his hand to welcome him back. He knew each of them by name. And they addressed him by his. But Reese grew ever quieter as the afternoon pressed on. He knows the names of everyone in a city. We paused at the edge of a brightly painted pocket of the city, built atop one of the hills that flowed right into the river's edge. I took one step at the first storefront, and my bones turned brittle. The cheery door was cracked open to reveal art and paints and brushes and little sculptures. Reese said, "This is what Valaris is known for, the artist's quarter. You'll find 100 galleries, supply stores, potter's compounds, sculpture gardens, and anything in between. They call it the Rainbow of Valaris. The performing artists, the musicians, the dancers, the actors, dwell on that hill right across the Sidra. You see the bit of gold glinting near the top? That's one of the main theaters. There are 5 notable ones in the city, but that's the most famous. And then there are the smaller theaters, and the amphitheater on the sea cliffs." He trailed off as he noticed my gaze drifting back to the assortment of bright buildings ahead. High fae and various lesser fairies I'd never encountered and didn't know the names of wandered the streets. It was the latter that I noticed more than the others. Some long-limbed, hairless, and glowing as if an inner moon dwelled beneath their night-dark skin. Some covered in opalescent scales that shifted color with each graceful step of their clawed-webbed feet. Some elegant, wild puzzles of horns and hooves and striped fur. Some were bundled in heavy overcoats, scarves, and mittens. Others strode around in nothing but their scales and fur and talons, and didn't seem to think twice about it. Neither did anyone else. All of them, however, were preoccupied with taking in the sights, some shopping, some splattered with clay and dust and paint. Artists. I'd never called myself an artist, never thought that far or that grandly, but where all that color and light and texture had once dwelled, there was only a filthy prison cell. I'm tired, I managed to say. I could feel Reese's gaze. Didn't care if my shield was up or down to ward against him reading my thoughts. But he only said, "We can come back another day. It's almost time for dinner anyway." Indeed, the sun was sinking toward where the river met the sea beyond the hills, staining the city pink and gold. I didn't feel like painting that either. Even as people stopped to admire the approaching sunset, as if the residents of this place, this court, had the freedom, the safety of enjoying the sights whenever they wished, and had never known otherwise. I wanted to scream at them, wanted to pick up a loose piece of cobblestone and shatter the nearest window, wanted to unleash that power again boiling beneath my skin and tell them, show them what had been done to me, to the rest of the world, while they admired sunsets and painted and drank tea by the river. "Easy," Reese murmured. I whipped my head to him, my breathing a bit jagged. His face had again become unreadable. "My people are blameless." That easily, my rage vanished, as if it had slipped a rung of the ladder it had been steadily climbing inside me and splattered on the pale stone street. Yes, of course they were blameless. But I didn't feel like thinking more on anything. I said again, "I'm tired." His throat bobbed, but he nodded, turning from the rainbow. "Tomorrow night, we'll go for a walk. Valeris is lovely in the day, but it was built to be viewed after dark." I'd expect nothing less from the city of starlight, but words had again become difficult. But dinner. With him. At that house of wind. I mustered enough focus to say, who exactly is going to be at this dinner? Reese led us up a steep street, my thighs burning with the movement. Had I become so out of shape, so weakened? "My inner circle," he said. "I want you to meet them before you decide if this is a place you'd like to stay. If you'd like to work with me, and thus work with them. More you've met, but the three others? The ones who came this afternoon." A nod. "Cassian, Azrael, and Amran." "Who are they?" He'd said something about Illyrians, but Amran, the female voice I'd heard, hadn't possessed wings. At least, ones I'd glimpsed through the fogged glass. "They're tiers," he said neutrally, "within our circle. Amran is my second in command." A female? The surprise must have been written on my face because Reese said, "Yes, and Moore is my third. Only a fool would think my Illyrian warriors were the apex predators in our circle." Irreverent, cheerful Moore was third to the High Lord of the Night Court. Reese went on, "You'll see what I mean when you meet Amran. She looks high fae, but something different prowls beneath her skin." Reese nodded to a passing couple who bowed their heads in merry greeting. "She might be older than this city, but she's vain and likes to hoard her baubles and belongings like a fire drake in a cave. So, be on your guard. You both have tempers when provoked, and I don't want you to have any surprises tonight." Some part of me didn't want to know what manner of creature exactly she was. "So, if we get into a brawl and I rip off her necklace, she'll roast and eat me?" He chuckled. "No, Amran would do far, far worse things than that. The last time Amren and Moore got into it, they left my favorite mountain retreat in cinders. He lifted a brow. For what it's worth, I'm the most powerful High Lord in Prithian's history, and merely interrupting Amren is something I've only done once in the past century. The most powerful High Lord in history. In the countless millennia they had existed here in Prithian, Reese, with his smirking and sarcasm and bedroom eyes. And Amren was worse, and older than 5,000 years. I waited for the fear to hit. Waited for my body to shriek, to find a way to get out of this dinner, but nothing. Maybe it'd be a mercy to be ended. A broad hand gripped my face, gently enough not to hurt, but hard enough to make me look at him. Don't you ever think that, Reese hissed, his eyes livid. Not for one damned moment. What? That bond between us went taut, and my lingering mental shields collapsed. And for a heartbeat, just as it had happened under the mountain, I flashed from my body to his, from my eyes to his own. I had not realized how I looked. My face was gaunt, my cheekbones sharp, my blue-gray eyes dull and smudged with purple beneath. The full lips, my father's mouth, were wan, and my collarbones jutted above the thick wool neckline of my sweater. I looked as if rage and grief and despair had eaten me alive. As if I was again starved, not for food, but for joy and life. Then I was back in my body, seething at him. Was that a trick? His voice was hoarse as he lowered his hand from my face. No. He angled his head to the side. How did you get through it? My shield. I didn't know what he was talking about. I hadn't done anything, just slipped. And I didn't want to talk about it, not here, not with him. I stormed into a walk, my legs so damn thin, so useless, burning with every step up the steep hill. He gripped my elbow, again with that considerate gentleness, but strong enough to make me pause. How many other minds have you accidentally slipped into? Lucian. Lucian? A short laugh. What a miserable place to be. A low snarl rippled from me. Do not go into my head. Your shield is down. I held it back up. You might as well have been shouting his name at me. Again, that contemplative angling of his head. Perhaps you having my power. He chewed on his bottom lip, then snorted. It makes sense, of course, if the power came from me, if my own shield sometimes mistook you for me and let you slip past. Fascinating. I debated, spitting on his boots. Take your power back. I don't want it. A sly smile. It doesn't work that way. The power is bound to your life. The only way to get it back would be to kill you. And since I like your company, I'll pass on the offer. We walked a few steps before he said, You need to be vigilant about keeping your mental wards up, especially now that you've seen Valaris. If you ever go somewhere else, beyond these lands, and someone slipped into your mind and saw this place, a muscle quivered in his jaw. We're called Demanti, those of us who can walk into another person's mind as if we were going from one room to another. We're rare, and the trait appears as the mother wills it, but there are enough of us scattered throughout the world that many, mostly those in positions of influence, extensively train against our skill set. If you were to ever encounter a Demanti without those shields up, Feyre, they'd take whatever they wanted. A more powerful one could make you their unwitting slave, make you do whatever they wanted, and you'd never know it. My lands remain mystery enough to outsiders that some would find you, among other things, a highly valuable source of information. De Monte. How Italian. Was I now one if I, too, could do such things? Yet another damn title for people to whisper as I passed. I take it in a potential war with Highburn, the king's armies wouldn't even know to strike here. I waved a hand to the city around us. So, what? Your pampered people, those who can't shield their minds, they get your protection and don't have to fight while the rest of us will bleed? I didn't let him answer, and just increased my pace. A cheap shot and childish, but inside I had become like that distant sea, relentlessly churning, tossed about by squalls that tore away any sense of where the surface might be. Reese kept a step behind for the rest of the walk to the townhouse. Some small part of me whispered that I could survive Amarantha. I could survive leaving Tamlin. I could survive transitioning into this new, strange body. But that empty, cold hole in my chest, I wasn't sure I could survive that. Even in the years I'd been one bad week away from starvation, that part of me had been full of color, of light. Maybe becoming a fairy had broken it. Maybe Amarantha had broken it. Or maybe I had broken it when I shoved that dagger into the hearts of two innocent fairies, and their blood had warmed my hands. Absolutely not, I said atop the townhouse's small rooftop garden, my hands shoved deep into the pockets of my overcoat, she's learning his mannerisms, to warm them against the bite in the night air. There was room enough for a few box shrubs and a round iron table with 2 chairs, and me and Rasand. Around us, the city twinkled, the stars themselves seeming to hang lower, pulsing with ruby and amethyst and pearl. Above, the full moon set the marble of the buildings and bridges glowing as if they were all lit from within. Music played, strings and gentle drums, and on either side of the Sidra, golden lights bobbed over riverside walkways dotted with cafes and shops, all open for the night, already packed. Life, so full of life. I could nearly taste it crackling on my tongue. Clothed in black accented with silver thread, Rasand crossed his arms and rustled his massive wings as I said, "No." The House of Wind is warded against people winnowing inside, exactly like this house, even against High Lords. Don't ask me why or who did it, but the option is either walk up the 10,000 steps, which I really do not feel like doing, Feyre, or fly in. Moonlight glazed the talon at the apex of each wing. He gave me a slow grin that I hadn't seen all afternoon. "I promise I won't drop you." I frowned at the midnight blue dress I'd selected. Even with the long sleeves and heavy, luxurious fabric, the plunging V of the neckline did nothing against the cold. I debated wearing the sweater and thicker pants, but had opted for finery over comfort. I already regretted it, even with the coat. But if his inner circle was anything like Tamlin's court, better to wear the more formal attire. I winced at the swath of night between the roof and the mountain residence. "The wind will rip the gown right off." His grin became feline. "I'll take the stairs." I seethed, the anger welcome from the past few hours of numbness as I headed for the door at the end of the roof. Reese snapped out a wing, blocking my path. Smooth membrane, flecked with a hint of iridescence. I peeled back. Nuala spent an hour on my hair. An exaggeration, but she had fussed while I'd sat there in hollow silence, letting her tease the ends into soft curls and pin a section along the top of my head with pretty gold barrettes. But maybe staying inside tonight, alone and quiet, maybe it'd be better than facing these people, than interacting. Reese's wing curved around me, herding me closer to where I could nearly feel the heat of his powerful body. Ooh. Okay. I promise I won't let the wind destroy your hair. He lifted a hand as if he might tug on one of those loose curls, then lowered it. What's he got, like a hat or a scarf for her? What's he gonna do? If I'm to decide whether I want to work against Highburn with you, with your inner circle, can't we just meet here? They're all up there already, and besides, the House of Wind has enough space that I won't feel like chucking them all off the mountain. I swallowed. Sure enough, curving along the top of the center mountain behind us, floors of lights glinted, as if the mountain had been crowned in gold. And between me and that crown of light was a long, long stretch of open air. You mean, I said, because it might have been the only weapon in my arsenal, that this townhouse is too small, and their personalities are too big, and you're worried I might lose it again. His wing pushed me closer, a whisper of warmth on my shoulder. So what if I am? I'm not some broken doll. Even if this afternoon, that conversation we'd had, what I'd glimpsed through his eyes, said otherwise. But I yielded another step. I know you're not, but that doesn't mean I'll throw you to the wolves. If you meant what you said about wanting to work with me to keep Highburn from these lands, keep the wall intact, I want you to meet my friends first. Decide on your own if it's something you can handle. And I want this meeting to be on my terms, not whatever they decide to ambush this house against. I didn't know you even had friends. Yes, anger, sharpness. It felt good. Better than feeling nothing. Feyre, when you talk about that, yes, anger is a feeling, but where did I lost? I got too into that and I lost my spot. Damn it. A cold smile. You didn't ask. Rasand was close enough now that he slid a hand around my waist, both of his wings encircling me. My spine locked up. A cage. The wings swept back, but he tightened his arm, bracing me for takeoff. Mother, save me. You say the word tonight and we come back here, no questions asked. And if you can't stomach working with me, with them, then no question asked on that either. We can find some other way for you to live here, be fulfilled, regardless of what I need. It's your choice, Feyre. I debated pushing him on it, on insisting I stay. But stay for what? To sleep? To avoid a meeting I should most certainly have before deciding what I wanted to do with myself? And to fly, I studied the wings, the arm around my waist. Please don't drop me. And please don't. We shot into the sky, fast as a shooting star. Before my yelp finished echoing, the city had yawned wide beneath us. Rhys's hand slid under my knees while the other wrapped around my back and ribs, and we flapped up, up, up into the star-freckled night, into the liquid dark and singing wind. The city lights dropped away until Valaris was a rippling velvet blanket littered with jewels. Yes, Katrusha, I can show you the world. Oh, reminds me, have I told you all the Aladdin tea that I have? Because I've tried to share this many times and I maybe shouldn't. But I am going to share it now just because it seems like it's the most appropriate moment. Oh my god. Okay. So. Yeah. So. The remake, right? The guy who played Aladdin in that, I used to work with him. He worked at the restaurant that I was a hostess at for a long time. He was a server. Very nice guy. And I think this is so funny. Okay. this goes nowhere. This is between you and me and the internet. Shh. Okay, so he got fired. And he got fired because he stole. He got fired for being a thief. Just like Aladdin. Now, I don't know if he actually stole or if it was like suspected theft. From what I understand, it was like him and some other servers were getting sneaky with the tip money so that they wouldn't have to pay into the tip pool, which I kind of get, but it's just like, So yeah, Aladdin got fired for being a thief. And then in the end, it all worked out for him because he got Aladdin pretty soon after that, so. But Mina was a nice guy, and he can feel free to hit me up if he doesn't hate the fact that I just outed him to the world. But he was nice. Good to work with. But yeah, I know. It's not like the biggest tea, but I just thought it was kind of funny. Right, like I wasn't stolen from their job at some point. But it was ironic. It'll be a story for him on Jimmy Kimmel one day or something. But I thought it was funny. Yeah. Anyway. The city lights dropped away until Valaris was a rippling velvet blanket littered with jewels, and the music no longer reached even our pointed ears. The air was chill, but no wind other than a gentle breeze brushed my face. Even as we soared with magnificent precision for the House of Wind. Reese's body was hard and warm against mine. Oh my. A solid force of nature crafted and honed for this. Even the smell of him reminded me of the wind. Rain and salt and something citrusy I couldn't name. He probably smells like a spa. We swerved into an updraft, rising so fast it was indistinct to clutch it. Rising so fast it was indistinct to clutch his black tunic as my stomach clenched. It was instinct. I scowled at the soft laugh that tickled my ear. I expected more screaming from you. I must not be trying hard enough. What? Do not, I hissed, focusing on the approaching tiara of lights in the eternal wall of the mountain. With the sky wheeling overhead and the lights shooting past below, up and down became mirrors until we were sailing through a sea of stars. Something tight in my chest eased a fraction of its grip. When I was a boy, Reese said in my ear, I'd sneak out of the House of Wind by leaping out my window, and I'd fly and fly all night, just making loops around the city, the river, the sea. Sometimes I still do. Your parents must have been thrilled. My father never knew, and my mother? A pause. She was Illyrian. Some nights, when she caught me, right as I leaped out the window, she'd scold me, and then jump out herself to fly with me until dawn. Yeah, Katricia, like, I think he grew up in the House of Wind. Not in the little townhouse. Right, in the big fancy formal one they're going to right now. I think that's what he's saying. So wait, so here's this is me just not understanding rich people shit. So then where do they live? Don't they have one that's like their primary place, and is that the night court? Why did he take her there? Why didn't he take her to one of the other places? Okay, fine, I guess so like the night court is like Parliament, or like the capital, and then the House of Wind is like the Prime Minister's home, or like the White House, and then the little townhouse is like Mar-a-Lago or whatever. I don't know. What other president has like a weird hidden getaway house? Or the cottage that Trudeau goes to during COVID. I guess. I don't know. But I thought the House of Wind was like the like official one. Like the one where they do official business, and it's like guarded and secret. No, not secret, but it's like, you know, for their group. And he just bought himself the townhouse because he's a chill guy. Okay, all right. I think I'm starting to understand. But that's too much traveling around. I would just want one. I just want one that's like my house where I live. I don't need several homes, thanks. Like Camp David? Too many houses. Yeah, I guess. She sounds lovely, I admitted. She was, he said. And those 2 words told me enough about his past that I didn't pry. A maneuver had us rising higher, until we were in direct line with a broad balcony, gilded by the light of golden lanterns. At the far end, built into the red mountain itself, 2 glass doors were already open, revealing a large but surprisingly casual dining room carved from the stone, and accented with rich wood. Each chair fashioned, I noted, to accommodate wings. Reese's landing was as smooth as his takeoff, though he kept an arm beneath my shoulders as my knees buckled at the adjustment. I shook off his touch and faced the city behind us. I'd spent so much time squatting in trees that heights had lost their primal terror long ago. But the sprawl of the city? Worse, the vast expanse of dark beyond? The sea? Maybe I remained a human fool to feel that way, but I had not realized the size of the world. The size of Prithian, if a city this large could remain hidden from Amarantha, from the other courts. Rassand was silent beside me, yet after a moment he said, "Out with it." I lifted a brow. "You say what's on your mind. One thing, and I'll say one too." Kikirtrisha says, okay, this house is legit just like Casita in Encanto. I tried to look up if there's lore about a sentient house. I only found the decomp smart house. Yeah, no, it's not a smart house situation. I haven't seen Encanto. So I just know they do magics and they have a house. That's okay, Katrisha. Okay. Focus. I shook my head and turned back to the city. But Reese said, "I'm thinking that I spent 50 years locked under the mountain, and I'd sometimes let myself dream of this place, but I never expected to see it again. I'm thinking that I wish I had been the one who slaughtered her. I'm thinking that if war comes, it might be a long while yet before I get to have a night like this." He slid his eyes to me, expectant. I didn't bother asking again how he'd kept this place from her, not when he was likely to refuse to answer, so I said, "Do you think war will come here that soon?" This was a no-questions-asked invitation. I told you. 3 things. Tell me one. I stared toward the open world, the city and the restless sea and the dry winter night. Maybe it was some shred of courage or recklessness, or I was so high above everything that no one save Reese and the wind could hear. But I said, "I'm thinking that I must have been a fool in love to allow myself to be shown so little of the spring court. I'm thinking there's a great deal of that territory I was never allowed to see or hear about, that I was never allowed to see or hear about, and maybe I would have lived in ignorance forever like some pet. I'm thinking..." The words became choked. I shook my head as if I could clear the remaining ones away. but I still spoke them. I'm thinking that I was a lonely, hopeless person, and I might have fallen in love with the first thing that showed me a hint of kindness and safety. And I'm thinking maybe he knew that. Maybe not actively, but maybe he wanted to be that person for me. Maybe he wanted to be that person for someone. And maybe that worked for who I was before. Maybe it doesn't work for what I am now. There. The words, hateful and selfish and ungrateful, for all Tamlin had done. The thought of his name clanged through me. Only yesterday afternoon I had been there. No, I wouldn't think about it. Not yet. Rasan said, "That was 5. Looks like I owe you 2 thoughts." He glanced behind us. Later. Because the 2 winged males from earlier were standing in the doorway, grinning. That was chapter 15. That was pretty meaningful. That was a lot. Okay, so this chapter here, 16, that's coming up, is very long. And I am very hungry because we started early. So I am going to end it here. That's right, Keitrisha. Yes, where she started out at the beginning of the books is important. She was desperate for survival. And she's done a lot of changing. So yes, we are going to wrap up for today. But we will start at chapter 16 next Wednesday when we're back. Remember, Saturday, Sunday streams are not happening. But yes. And I will very shortly have a proper mathed out schedule. So we'll know when Jackie's coming back again to talk about part 2. I just need to take a look at how long these chapters are. Now I'm getting hiccups. How long these chapters are. So I make an informed choice on a date to aim for. So that's where we're at. I will see you all next week. As always, you know where to get at me. We should really start doing more like discussion in the Discord if people have thoughts. I'm very bad at keeping up, but that's a good place to send comments and share things. If you guys have anything, in the Oh No It's Jackie Discord, in the A Court of Thorns and Roses channel, many of you, if not all of you that are currently watching are in there. But if you ever need an invite, you just drop me a message and I'll get you one. It was so fun talking. I love talking with all of you and hanging out. And I will see you all very soon. Thank you, Pip and Noel. I really appreciate that. Yeah, you all know where I am. So I'll definitely be talking about stuff. So, but yeah, thank you so much. And all of you have a really great night, okay? Bye.